When the letter arrived, I was getting ready to clean out the garage. The Saturday forecast said rain in the afternoon, so I wanted to get the folding chairs and grill put away before it hit. That was when the photos slid out of the manila envelope and landed on the concrete floor with a soft slap. I bent down and picked them up. It was a black and white photo, printed on plain copier paper, the edges rough like it had been scanned in a hurry. The image was grainy, but clear enough, a bare forest, thin tree trunks packed together, like cage bars, the ground a mix of mud and rotting leaves. 3 figures stood in the center. The man in the middle wore dark work pants and a long-sleeved shirt that looked like flannel. His arms hung at his sides, his posture stiff, his face blank, like someone told to stand still and look at the camera. He looked normal, and in that place, next to those 2 things, that normality felt deeply wrong. The thing on his left I could only barely call human. A stiff, mask-like human face showed through the middle, but the rest of its body was wrapped in dried, tangled material, like sun-baked cornstalks, rope, or some kind of plant I couldn't name, all woven and bound together. From its head sprouted twisted, branch-like tendrils. The thing on the right wore a dark robe and a huge square headpiece, with 2 exaggerated round holes, 4 eyes, and a mouth painted with white jagged teeth. 2 curved horns rose from the top. Both figures were taller than the man, boxing him in. The entire photo was unnaturally still, a frozen black and white moment, with no sense of movement at all. There was no postmark on the envelope, no return address. Just my name and address, printed neatly in plain block letters. As I turned the photo over in my hands, a strange sense of familiarity crept in. Not the scene, but the man's stance, the cut of those work pants. I took the photo inside and set it on the kitchen counter, sunlight from the window making the contrast even harsher. My wife Jennifer was making lunch, chopping lettuce for a salad. "What's that?" she asked without looking up. "No idea. A photo someone mailed. No name on it," I said. She wiped her hands and came over, glanced at it, and immediately frowned. "What the hell is that?" "Some Halloween thing. It's gross." She dropped it back on the counter like it was dirty. "Who would send this?" "I don't know." I kept staring at it. The feeling wouldn't go away. The pants. My dad used to wear ones just like that. Blue, washed out, with a hammer loop pocket on the right thigh. In the photo, there was a faint square shadow in the same place. "Forget it, Paul," Jennifer said, going back to her tomatoes. "Probably some idiot prank, or a wrong address. Toss it. Come help me set the table. The kids will be back from soccer soon." I said okay, but I didn't move. I held the photo up to the light. The forest didn't look like any park or woods near our house. The costumes were crude, but deliberately unsettling. And the man in the middle, his face blurred by the pixels, but the outline of it, the way he held himself. My father, Alvin, had been missing for over 15 years. The summer after I graduated high school, he said he was going to the hardware store and never came back. His car was found in the parking lot of a dying strip mall outside town, keys still in the ignition. The police looked into it for a long time, then labeled it a voluntary disappearance. Maybe he started a new life. Maybe he was running from something. My mom remarried 2 years later and moved to Florida. Jennifer and I eventually bought my dad's old house, the one we live in now. The garage still held some of his leftover junk, including an old toolbox sitting in the corner I'd been about to clean. I gripped the photo and went back out to the garage. The light was dimmer now, clouds rolling in. I opened the green metal toolbox, its surface spotted with rust. Inside were normal tools, screwdrivers, pliers, a tape measure, a box of rusty nails. I pulled them out and set them aside. The bottom was lined with a piece of felt, frayed at the edges. I lifted it, nothing underneath, just scratched metal. I was about to close it when I froze. At the torn edge of the felt, something stuck out. I carefully pulled the felt free. On the underside, taped with old black electrical tape, was a flat object about the size of an envelope. My heart started pounding. I peeled back the dried tape and slid it out. Another photo. This one real, glossy color photo paper, the edges yellowed with age. The scene was the same forest, but green, clearly summer. My father stood in the center, wearing his blue work pants and a red and black flannel shirt. His arms hung at his sides. His face showed confusion, tension, and a forced, awkward smile for the camera. His hair was still brown, thicker than I remembered. He was alone, no one else in the frame. But the background, the type of trees, how tightly they were packed, the slope of the ground, all matched the black and white photo exactly. Even the irregular grey stone, half buried near his feet, was there, its shape visible in the photocopy. My breathing stopped. I looked from the color photo in my hand to the black and white copy on the kitchen counter. Aside from the season, the color, the presence of those two figures, and subtle differences in my father's expression, the scene was identical. His posture, even the slight forward lean of his body, matched perfectly. Who took this photo? Why was my father standing like that in that forest? What was the black and white photo? And who connected them and sent it to me? "Paul, lunch is ready," Jennifer called. I hurriedly shoved the color photo into my back pocket, put the toolbox back the way it was, and returned to the kitchen, holding the black and white copy. I tried to look normal. Our son Mike and daughter Emily were back, talking loudly about practice. Lunch was sandwiches and salad. I barely tasted it. The photo felt like ice pressed to my chest. "You're still thinking about that?" Jennifer asked, nodding toward the photo I'd set on the counter. "Yeah," I said vaguely. "It's bothering me." "Looks like some cult crap," Mike said around a mouthful of turkey. "Kids at school do weird stuff like that, masks and all." "Don't say things like that, Mike," Jennifer snapped. That afternoon the rain started, tapping on the roof. I said I needed to organize paperwork in the study and locked myself upstairs. I pulled out the color photo and examined it closely. On the back, written in blue ballpoint pen in my father's handwriting, was a date, June 17, 1998. I was 14 that summer, 4 years before he vanished. Why had I never seen this photo? Why was it hidden? I searched online for any local festivals or groups with similar costumes. The results were messy, mostly Halloween events or niche art projects. Nothing looked as crude or raw as the figures in the photo. Those weren't made for fun, they felt purposeful. It rained all night, Sunday stayed grey. Jennifer took the kids to the mall for school shoes. I claimed a headache and stayed home. As soon as their car pulled away, I changed into old clothes and boots, grabbed both photos, and drove north. I wasn't completely guessing. In the years before he disappeared, my father sometimes went off alone on weekends, saying he was fishing or hiking. My mom complained, but never pushed. I remembered once, around when I was 14, he came back with mud on his pant legs and bits of dry plant debris I didn't recognize. When I asked where he'd been, he said, vaguely, the old woods up north. Beyond our area was a large state forest with trails, and farther out, remote private land few people visited. The road narrowed from pavement to gravel. The rain eased into mist. The trees grew thicker. I parked near an abandoned logging road and compared the photos. Close, but not right, not dense enough. I drove on, turning onto a dirt path, nearly swallowed by weeds. After 20 minutes of jolting, I reached a clearing near a rusted metal shed, probably an old logging rest spot. I left the car and walked deeper into the woods. The air was cold and damp, smelling of rot. Mud squelched under my boots. After half an hour, I felt stupid. Searching for a specific spot based on a feeling, and an old photo was pointless. I leaned against a pine, breathing hard, and checked the color photo again. That was when I saw the stone. About 40 feet ahead, half buried in leaves and mud, an irregular grey rock. My heart jumped. I walked over and crouched. Same shape, same size, even the faint crack on its surface. I looked up. The trees here were unnaturally thin and packed tight. Despite it being late summer, many branches were bare. The ground was thick with leaves. The feeling matched the black and white photo almost perfectly. This was the place. I stood there, imagining my father here, facing someone with a camera. Was it voluntary? Who took the photo? Why capture such a lonely, unsettling portrait? I searched around. No markings, no trash. Just wet, silent forest. Rain started again. As I turned to leave, my boot struck something solid beneath the leaves. I brushed them away to reveal the corner of a rusted metal box, like an old cookie tin. I dug it out and pried it open with my multi-tool. Inside were a few items: a rusted, unmarked copper badge, a short length of faded red string, and a small folded black and white photograph. This one showed 3 figures. My father in the middle, flanked by the 2 figures from the photocopy. This was the original. Darker tones, clearer details. My father's face was empty, eyes wide, pupils dilated. The 2 figures stood extremely close, their branch-like and gloved hands resting just behind his shoulders, a subtle but controlling gesture. On the back, in the same blue pen, blurred with age, was written, "Recorded here. Debt settled. H and G. Debt. What debt? Who were H and G?" I drove back in silence, rain soaking everything. The smell of wet soil and rust filled the car. I stared at the photo, cold creeping up my spine. The color photo was from 1998, before. The black and white 3-person photo was after, likely close to when he vanished. Whoever mailed me the copy knew about the box. Were they guiding me, or warning me? Was my father's disappearance tied to this? Did settling the debt mean leaving, or something worse? I went through the next days on autopilot. Work, kids, small talk. Inside, I was unraveling. I checked my father's old financial records. No major debts. Jennifer noticed something was wrong. I brushed it off. The photos and box stayed locked in my desk, but I kept taking them out at night. My father's eyes in that photo haunted me. Not fear, but a calm emptiness, like surrender. Wednesday night. I got home late from inventory duty. The street was quiet, streetlights hazy in the damp air. As I parked in the garage, I noticed a flicker of movement outside the side window. I froze, watching. Nothing there. Probably a cat. I turned toward the door and kicked something on the floor. A manila envelope, identical to the first. Inside was a printed map. A spot circled in red, deeper in the forest, a mile or 2 east of where I'd found the box. Below it, a single line: Saturday, sunrise. Blood rushed in my ears. Someone knew I'd been there. This wasn't random. I didn't sleep. By Saturday before dawn, I left quietly, using the same excuse my father once had: fishing. The forest was darker this time. After an hour, I reached a clearing. In the center was a rough stone circle. Beside it stood 2 crude structures. One made of sticks, rope, dried plants. The other a wooden frame, holding a square cardboard head, painted with eyes and jagged teeth. They matched the photos exactly. I stepped closer. In the center of the circle was a shallow human-shaped depression. I knelt and uncovered a bundle wrapped in oilcloth. Inside was a notebook. My father's handwriting filled the pages. Numbers, notes, reminders, then entries mentioning H and G money, pressure, photos, the date June 17, 1998, and finally, Saturday, sunrise, old place. Take what must be taken. No trace. A sound behind me. Footsteps. Too many emerged from the trees. Ordinary clothes, weathered faces, calm eyes. Paul Alvinson, the taller one, said, "You look like your father." "You're H and G," I said hoarsely. They nodded. Harold and Glenn. They told me my father chose this, a settlement. A release, no violence, a ritual. The photos were records. The debt wasn't money anymore. What happened here? I asked. He lay down, Harold said, and then he left. Not left somewhere, left everything. They said it wasn't complete without me witnessing it. Blood closes the loop. They left me with a small velvet pouch. Inside was my father's old watch, frozen at an unfamiliar time, and my mother's wedding ring. They walked away, never looking back. I stood alone in the growing light. The structures looked ridiculous now. Just junk. I took everything with me. I didn't destroy it. Some things shouldn't be erased. By the time I reached my car, the sun was fully up. Birds sang. Life went on. I won't tell my family everything. Some truths are too heavy, but I won't forget. My father made a choice, for us, in a way I can't fully understand. The photo will stay with me. Not just fear, but a suffocating resolve, a quiet ending. The oilcloth bundle rests in the back seat as I drive home, carrying a secret, and a story that can finally be laid to rest.